Okay, what do you got? You guys saw the whole practice, so guys, let you fire away. No sense in listening to me.
What is Mason Smith catching punts?
You know, we've got a controversy already. I think we should start piping that one up. Punt returner controversy, Mason Smith. I think probably an NIL deal probably in the offering as well. You know, good hands, insurance. Okay, how's that?
If you have a question, raise your hand so we get a mic to you, please. Since you've started here and through now, what have you seen from Garrett Nussmeier kind of developing these last few months?
Yeah, so it's much more about the technical things. Look, there is a young man that has got an incredible amount of confidence. He's gonna fit it in the phone booth throws as well as anybody that I've been around. He's got the makeup of a great quarterback. But there's been this development technically that has been I think from my perspective nice to see as we've gone through the spring. And he's doing a really nice job. Yeah. Yes.
Microphone, please.
Coach Dylan Sanders from the Reveille here on campus. Do you know if we're still looking at a offense versus defense spring game?
Yeah, so we'll get that to you on Monday, but it will be offense versus defense. And as much as I do not like that version of it for many reasons, it's the best way to create a competitive situation for our team. We would have to, we'd have to put ourselves in some compromising situations. So that's the way it's going to be. So offense, defense, you've got points scored on the defense for stops and turnovers, and it'll be like 92 to, whatever. But that's just the way it is. But it'll give us a great evaluation. One of the things that we've been really working on is, going from a practice mindset to a performance mindset, and I need to do this. And so that's why the push. So if you're wondering, well, why does he need to do this? I need that kind of, performance mindset in the stadium and getting that feel.
Brian, just John Emery had the boot on his lower right leg.
Who did?
John Emery.
Yeah.
How's he doing? What's
his
outlook?
It doesn't seem to be a major injury at all. It seems to be a minor injury that maybe something that we can get him back next week.
And then Corey Kiner, would he maybe be able to come back this week? It didn't seem like he was out there either.
It seems like a high ankle sprain. The early indications are that's going to be about 2 to 3 weeks. Yep.
Did you feel any extra energy being in the stadium today? Could you tell?
Oh, yeah, you could feel it. I mean, right when the guys got here, it's probably the fastest they've changed since I've been with them. In and out of the locker room, there's just an energy that you get when you come into your stadium. And, and we wanted to remind them of it. Obviously we want to, defend our turf, and this is our home stadium. And, anytime we're in it, we want to make sure that we're preparing ourselves the right way. But, yeah, you certainly could feel it.
Hey, Coach, read the Sports Illustrated article on you. You mentioned organizational health was a term that you'd used and what it was like when you got here and to this point. Can you speak to that a little bit more, elaborate on what you meant by that, and where is it at right now after you got here in December?
Yeah, so organizational health is, communication, people communicating, the same way when it's healthy. Everybody's, collaborative, and there's a cohesiveness on a day-to-day basis. And I love where we are. I think we've got a great staff that's able to do that. And so when we talk about that in particular, there's always reasons why things go the way they do. And one of the things that I identified is that we needed to have great organizational health. And every program that I've been at, that has been one of the tenets for success. So creating that early on, and I kind of alluded to this early on, was maybe one of the reasons why it was a little bit of a slower rollout in bringing the coaches out because I had to really make sure the foundational pieces were together for that organizational health.
Coach, can you talk about building depth this year in the spring? And secondly, what can the fans expect from the spring game, and how much is that going to help you determine early depth charts, or do you look at the whole body of spring? How much importance on the spring game per se?
Yeah, I don't know that it's particular on the spring game as much as building more about, as I mentioned, how to go from practicing to a game. And so this gives us another opportunity to do that. And so, we're going to practice the walk. We're going to do everything that, goes into game day. So the first time we come here, it's not like we've never done it before. From pre-game routine, how we're going to warm up. I want to be able to get that accomplished, if you will, and not do it the first time. So the spring game gives us that opportunity to get a dry run, if you will, or a soft opening, whatever analogy or whatever words you want to use. I utilize the spring game for that opportunity. So I don't know that it gives us like definitive opportunities to make, long-standing, decisions on depth. I think the whole spring gives us that more so than one particular game.
Right. I know you've had your head down working to try to get things settled here, but a lot of coaches around the country have started to weigh in on their opinions of where college football is with NIL and transfer portal and stuff like that. Do you have any thoughts or any concerns about the direction college football is heading?
Yeah, I live in the moment, and so name, image, and likeness is with us. And so I've spent most of my time, focusing on putting together the most comprehensive and what I would consider attractive name, image, and likeness program for our student athletes here that can compete with anybody in the country instead of worrying about what's wrong with it and what we can do to fix it. I'm not getting too far in front of ourselves, trying to operate within where we are and moving forward that way. And that, look, if I'm going to worry about all the other issues, then I think it's going to take away from the kind of name, image, and likeness program that we need to have here at LSU.
Transfers, you kind of need transfers, right? I mean, the transfer portal is probably good for you.
Yeah, and look, I think the transfer portal is going to take care of itself. I think naturally, people are starting to get a sense that maybe there needs to be some dead periods, with the transfer portal, that it need not be open 365 days out of the year. I think the SEC has already shown that there could be a time where you close it down. And so I think that is going to eventually find itself to be reasonable. And so I don't know that I need to be standing on a pulpit for that in particular. And I think the transfer portal, look, some coaches are staying away from the transfer portal because they're worried about what the influence is in their program. And I get that. And, I think if you're not doing a really good job of bringing the right people in your program, the transfer portal can be deadly to your program. But, we had some strict parameters in terms of who we were bringing in, and I feel very comfortable with it. There might be some years that I don't use it at all because we're using it all on freshmen. So I don't think I have any declarative statements on it other than they're real, and I want to be able to use those to build the best program that we have.
Coaches, at this point, is your receiver group like where you think it should be, or ahead of pace or behind pace, just in picking up the nuances of a new system and timing and everything, or is this just like real early and what's going to be a long process?
I think I would look at it differently. I think we're building some grit in this group. I think there's talent. We're looking for guys that can sustain a consistent level of play for 4 quarters. We're having long practices, and then we're not getting into team play and throwing it to them in competitive situations till late, so they're fatigued, and we want to see them fight through those and make the big catches late. They look really good in period 1, 2, and 3, right? In those tempo periods. I want to see them late. So we're developing a mental toughness with that group. So if you were to ask me, where is the group? I think it's talented. I think that they're going to be a group that we can count on. But there are things in this total preparation that I keep talking about that we really have to focus on. And it's not the physical. I think their technical and tactical is pretty good. It's the mental preparation that we're really focused in on.
Brian, when it comes to Robert Steeples, he's someone who wasn't maybe a known name in the coaching profession over the last couple of years. How did you kind of find him, and what has impressed you about him?
Coaching is about mentorship. It's about relationships. It's about knowledge of the position in which you're teaching. It's about holistic development. And I met him in DeSmet High School. He was a high school coach. I had a young man that played for me at Notre Dame that I recruited there, and I was fascinated by his depth of character and his ability to build a program from a non-winning program to a state championship program in a very short period of time. And so I was taken aback in terms of just how solid his foundation, his principles of player development were. And 2 years later, I interviewed him at Notre Dame and didn't hire him, but felt like if I got another opportunity, I was going to hire him. I got that opportunity here, and I'm glad I did.
Coach, we've seen a lot of these scrimmage drives end in broken tackles for long touchdowns. What are you seeing? What do you think of the tackling efforts you're seeing from the defense so far?
Yeah, our guys are caught a little in between the brotherhood and tackling. So I preach brotherhood, and that is you got to be careful with our guys. Don't put them in compromising situations, and it's new for them. You know, they're used to just, attacking, and so they're a little reticent at times, and it shows up a little bit, and they got to tackle. Okay, I'm not here to make any excuses for poor tackling, but they're caught right now a little bit in a new way of practicing. But when it's time to tackle, they got to tackle. They just got to be more careful. Never put a player in a compromising position, but you can still get them on the ground. So again, we're going to continue to talk to them about it. And when we practice, they got to get them on the ground. But they're not deliberately, not wanting to tackle, but they're caught a little bit in between that kind of narrative that we've been preaching.
Yeah, Brian, I think May 1st is the deadline for transfers. They're eligible.
That's correct.
So what's the next week after spring practice like for you as far as assessing and then looking around the country to see what's available for what you have left?
Well, the SEC rules, so, that kind of ends that. So there's, we've got a couple of openings that, there will be some auditions for, and you can be assured that they'll be filled. So we've targeted, we've obviously been working this for quite some time, and we feel like we know the two needs that we have, a couple of needs. I don't want to be specific. We have a couple of needs that we need to fill, and we're prepared to fill those quickly.
Coach, that's time for one more. Right. We've asked you so much about John Emery, but what are you seeing from kind of the younger running backs outside of him so far?
Yeah, I mean, you saw Amani, hit a downhill direct snap, inside, zone play, and he's got low pads, obviously, just by his stature, but he's explosive. Williams has done a nice job. They've all got different skill sets, and they all can contribute in some fashion. We're going to add, another back. Obviously, Kane is going to come in as well. I just think that you're going to see a lot of guys play at that position, and I think, we're going to play to each one of their traits as well. I think Trey's done a really nice job, and he's improved from day one. He didn't know how to practice. He's starting to understand how to practice. So I'm really pleased with, each one of them has shown, different traits that they have, and we will play to those. I don't know that you'll see one guy on the field for first, second, and third down per se. I think each one of them will contribute. Thank you.